Hey, you guys, welcome back to another edition of Holla at a Scholar. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about something that is so extremely important. We're going to be talking about finances. And I can't wait to really just express some of the things I want to talk about. But as you guys know, that the average American is about 1 to 2 paychecks away from being homeless, and 1 in 3 Americans in debt. And yet we're in one of the richest countries in the world, but people are still having money problems. So today we're going to be talking about finance, and we're going to be talking about money. And we're going to be talking about something called BYOB. Be your own bank. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to give you guys some game. I'm going to give you guys some information that's going to last you a lifetime and not a lunchtime. I'm going to tell you guys how we can literally mimic the bank. I want to show you guys how banks operate, how you can mimic the bank, and how you can get ahead. Because as you guys know, or some of you guys don't know, but you guys hear me talking all the time on the podcast about this, and there's a language for the rich and the wealthy, and there's also a language for those individuals who are not rich and wealthy. Doctors have a language, lawyers have a language, and so does the rich and the wealthy. Now, you don't have to be rich or wealthy to know the language. But once you know the language, like I said before, then you're going to have money for a lifetime and not a lunchtime. So I just want to start off and just let you guys know exactly what happens. First of all, on average, the banks in America, I'm talking about those 5 major banks in most cases. I'm not going to mention none of the names of the banks. I don't want banks to get angry at me because I'm about to say some stuff that's going to really, it's a real talk per se. And, banks, they don't really want you to know the information that I'm about to tell you guys. That's the reason why you tune into the podcast, so you can get some real information and not no BS. I don't water it down. I just give you guys straight information coming from my heart. And we're talking about several years of experience in terms of being in business and being an entrepreneur. I want to give you guys some information that's going to actually stick to you, and you're going to be able to carry it. So, as I was saying, that the average banks in America, they give us on average minus 1%. I could go 0.3, but I'm just getting right to it. On average, minus 1%. Now, when we think about that the bank is giving us on average 1%. Now we want to talk about something. We want to talk about inflation. And I call inflation the silent killer. I want you guys to listen to that. Inflation is the silent killer. Now, when it comes down to taxes, most of us are worrying about taxes. Tax. All of us hate taxes. And I'm going to be talking about taxes also too on next week's show. However, most of us hate taxes. But I want you guys to know that inflation is the silent killer. So now that we know the bank is giving us on average, right, minus 1%, I'm going to be saying things over and over again because sometimes you have to say the same thing 5 times before someone actually gets it. So if I say something repeatedly, don't worry about it. It's simply because I want you guys to really get the information. Once again, on average, the bank is giving us what? Minus 1%. Now, inflation, I call it the silent killer. Inflation is when a country or government prints up more money that it can actually account for. Okay. So right now, with the stimulus package that's taking place in America, hyperinflation is about to kick in. But right now, inflation is about 4.5%. So I want you guys to think about that. If the bank is giving us minus 1% and inflation is 4.5%, you have to have 5% or greater. We have to have 5% or greater just to beat taxes and inflation. And maybe that's the reason why the average American is 1 to 2 paychecks away from being homeless, simply because you can be literally saving money. I want you guys to listen to this. You can be literally saving money today and actually losing money at the same time. Now, why is that? Because every year, taxes and inflation goes up, but the value of our money goes down. And that's what's happening right now in America. So I want to show you guys, as I said before, BYOB, become your own bank. So you may be saying right now, What the hell is Rory talking about become your own bank? I barely have two nickels to rub together. No, listen, my friend. When I say be your own bank, keep in mind, I told you guys this is really about information. And that's why I'm giving you this information right now so you will understand that there's things available for you, especially as an American, as a citizen. There's things that are available for you. So now that we have established what the bank does in terms of us giving us minus 1%, inflation is 4.5%. And I just told you guys we need 5% or greater just to beat taxes and inflation. So the average millionaire today has about 6 streams of income. And the average American has 2 jobs. So this is what normally happens. We go to the bank. We put our monies in the bank. The bank give us minus 1%. The bank, they don't save our money. They take our money and they invest it in the market and get all of the compounding interest. Now, some of you guys probably just heard about compounding interest, but I want to break it down so you'll really, really understand compounding interest. Compounding interest is simply just interest on top of interest. So if your money is not compounding, guess what? You're behind right from the gate. So you may be asking yourself, well, how can I get compounding interest? How can I receive compounding interest? Well, it's something that's called the rule of 72. So a lot of these things I'm talking to you guys about may sound a little foreign. The rule of 72. By the way, all banking institutions use the rule of 72. Finance companies, credit card companies, student loans, they all use the rule of 72. And you'll be surprised. Most of the people, listen to this, who works in the bank don't even know about the rule of 72. Yet the bank operates off the rule of 72. Now, the rule of 72 can work for you or it can work against you. It works for you if you're receiving the interest. And it works against you if you're paying the interest, like a credit card or a bill. Now, how does it work? You just take the number 72, and you guys can do it at home. Take the number 72 and you divide it into any rate of return, and that's going to tell you how long to take to double your money. For instance, if I said 72 divided into 4, that's 18. So that means your money doubles every 18 years. So if you're not receiving compounding interest, you're not even getting ahead. Even if you have a bank account, your money is not growing, it's actually going. I'm going to say that again. Your money is not growing, it's actually going because you're not receiving any compounding interest. Now, you may be asking me, well, how in the hell am I going to receive compounding interest? Well, by the way, the bank gives us flat interest. And most of us are into the APR, annual percentage return or receive. But what we really need to do is get into the APY, annual percentage yield, which is compounding interest. So those things right there, you guys got to really take those in and take them to heart. So make sure you write some of this stuff down, because what I'm talking to you guys about, this information is not really, really taught. Now, once again, you're probably saying to yourself right now, well, you said start our own bank. How are we going to create our own bank? Well, I'm going to let the cat out the bag. How do you create your own bank? You create your own bank by investing in yourself. Remember what I said. We go to the bank. We put our monies in the bank. And the bank give us on average minus 1%, right? The bank doesn't save our money. They take our money and they invest it in the market. The bank does something that's called fractional banking. Fractional banking. They take a fraction of your funds and they put it in the market and get all of the compounding interest. So I want you guys to know this. And I want to show you guys also too how you can become your own bank. And you guys know that the street professor I don't play around. I just give it to you straightforward and raw. Let me let you guys know this. Banks are the number one investors in insurance companies. I'm going to say that again. Banks are the number one investors in insurance companies. Why is that? There's something that's called BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. I'm going to say that again. Bank-owned life insurance. Banks are heavily vested in life insurance. And you also too can do the same thing. That's the reason why I said you have to learn how to invest in yourself. I'm not against the stock market. I get involved with a lot of that. I'm not against the stock market. What I'm trying to say to you guys is this. A lot of us, once again, have a champagne taste with a beer budget, which means we really don't have the funds to start investing. So I always tell people there's 4 principles of money. I want y'all to listen to these 4 principles. The first principle is this. When you're building a house from the ground up, what is the most important part? It's the foundation. So you have to have a solid foundation first. And then the second thing is you have to protect that foundation. And what is that protection? That protection is life insurance. Then you go from having a solid foundation to debt management. Now, there's 2 forms of debt. There's good debt, believe it or not, and there's bad debt. What I mean by good debt? Good debt if I'm paying for my mortgage or my children's education. Bad debt is bills in general, credit cards. So then we go from debt management, folks, to what we call emergency fund. And there's something I want you guys to know. It's called the 10-20 rule. Write that down. The 10-20 rule, which means we should have at least 10 times of our monthly expenses saved up just for emergencies. 10 times of our monthly expenses saved up, once again, just for emergencies. Now, the 20 represents 20 times your annual salary to retire. 20 times. So if a person makes $60,000 a year, they need $1.2 million to retire. Not at one time, but over time. Now, what does this have to do with banks? It has a lot to do with banks because once again, you want a solid foundation. Not only that, you want to make sure you have a debt management plan. Then you want to establish an emergency fund. And the last thing, now you want to invest. And let me tell you this, the average American pays every bill first before they pay themselves, and that's a bad habit. Once you pay every bill before you pay yourself, you are training yourself to be a consumer. And a consumer, listen to this, is one who's controlled by the power of another. However, when you train yourself to pay your bills first before you pay yourself, you're training yourself to be a saver. So we see now that we are taught to be consumers. We get very little interest and we don't really understand the money game. So I always tell people, would you rather put monies in the bank and get minus 1%? Or would you rather put your money where the bank put their money? But guess what? The banks are not going to tell you this. I just told you guys the banks are very heavily vested in life insurance. And when you get life insurance on yourself personally, that's an investment. You're investing in yourself. Now, I want you guys to know something. You'd be surprised. The average person in America think life insurance is just to bury someone. But guess what? The rich and the wealthy use life insurance to carry them, and the average American use life insurance to bury them. Can life insurance be used to bury you? Yes, it can be. But I want you guys to really listen to me closely because I'm getting to the point about building and becoming your own bank. Now, I want you guys to listen to this. If I said to you right now, automobile insurance, what comes to your mind? An automobile, correct? Yes. If I said right now, homeowners insurance, what comes to your mind? A home, quite naturally. Now, let me break this down so you guys will know. Life insurance simply means to transfer wealth. I'm going to say that again. It's to transfer wealth. What I mean by that, which means I have a lot of life insurance on me. I'm the breadwinner of the family. Something happens to me, I transfer an enormous amount of wealth to my family and not an enormous amount of debt in most cases. So let's get back. I digress. Once again, remember, we go to the bank, we put our monies in the bank give us minus 1%. The bank turn around, take our money, and they put it in the market, and they get all of the compounding interest, like the index, like the S&P 500, Standard & Poor, the top 500 American companies, like Walmart, McDonald's, Ford. That's what I'm talking about. Now, with life insurance, you can become your own bank. That's right. Let me give you guys an example. A bank is an institution that has accounts. That's correct. Now, also, a credit union is an institution that has accounts. And not only that, An insurance company is also an institution that also has accounts. So I'm letting the cat out the bag. Insurance companies have the highest account interest on their accounts. Insurance companies, you get the highest interest. I want you guys to know that would you rather put monies in the bank and get minus 1%, or would you rather put your money where the bank put their money and get up to 15%? You guys heard that right. You can get up to 15% when the bank is only giving you minus 1%. I know this information. That's why you guys see so much passion coming out of my voice, because I see so many people out there that don't understand the game and actually are losing every single day. You can get literally up to 15% compounding. Can you believe that? And not only that, it's guaranteed no loss, which means you can't lose. And it gets better than that, because life insurance is also tax-free. I want you guys to think about that. I'm going to be talking about taxes next week, but life insurance is tax-free. I want you guys to write this down. There's something that's an Internal Revenue Service tax code. It's called 7702. I want you guys to go look it up. 7702 says anyone that is saving for retirement in America can retire tax-free in a life insurance policy. So you want to make sure that you create and become your own bank. As I said before, be your own bank. Understand how you can literally have money for a lifetime and not a lunchtime, and build for your future with life insurance. Now, if you want more information, make sure that you reach out to me so I can give you some additional information of what type of life insurance you need to be able to do this, because there's a lot of people out there that's talking about life insurance, but they don't really understand the right type of life insurance or the right plan. So, hey, you guys, that was my time. I really want to welcome you guys once again for being on the show today with Holla at a Scholar with the Street Professor. I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. We're going to be talking about taxes, so the professor is going to leave a seat in the classroom open for you guys. Hey, I gave you guys a lot of information in a little amount of time, so make sure you take this information and use it so you don't lose it. Take care, you guys. See you sooner than later.